Aboru aboye, aboshishe. Right now, I want to make a little commentary and hopefully shed some light and give some direction on African Americans appropriating African culture and tradition. It's a sticky situation, and it isn't a one-sided equation. But I'm only going to speak to one side of the equation because that's what I know best. That's what I've lived, which is African American. I am an African American, and I know that some of the problematic aspects of our relationship to Africa is not our Africanness. Our Africanness is bona fide. Our Africanness is appreciated. Our Africanness is recognized all around the world. Anybody who has eyes knows that we are African. Okay? The part that becomes problematic is the American part. You see, Americans have this sort of a cultural blindness about ourselves. We don't realize that we practice a certain culture, and our culture has certain principles and values and habits, many of which are bad. And it's those bad habits and that poison psychology of America and Western philosophy and theology and psychology. It's all of that contamination of America that really drives us to seek out Africa. We forget that. And we want to take all of our Americanisms and use it blindly to then practice everything African. And it doesn't become more pronounced and evident than when it comes to cultural appropriation. We don't want to believe that we're Americans. And we think that we can take African clothes, fabric, African icons, African language, words, practices, and traditions, and we can practice them any way we feel like it because we're Africans. In the name of being just African, I can do whatever I want. But no African thinks like that. No African thinks like that. Okay? There is a tradition. If I bring out a certain icon, let me give you for an example. If I bring up this icon, right? And I say, hey, this is Ile Ori. Okay? That's the shrine for Ori. That means something very specific. And you can see that this icon, it has cowrie shells on it. It has beads on it, right? And you see how they're attached in a certain way. It means something. It looks a certain way, sure. Now, from an American eye, I can be just seeing it as the way it looks. It's a beautiful work of art. And I may want to borrow the ideas and I sew cowrie shells onto my garments or beads onto my garments or something like that. Or I may want to even replicate the whole icon and use it to keep sugar in it or flour or something or my money, whatever. And I see nothing wrong with that because I'm just looking at it from a creative, aesthetic perspective. That's one thing. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. There's no way that you can look at every single thing out there in the African world and do all the research on it and know every element of it before you use it at all. Right? That's just not going to happen. That's not reasonable. But at the point that someone brings it to your attention, you know what? That icon that you have and you're keeping your sugar in it, that's meant to hold people's destinies. And it's really only supposed to be made a certain way at a certain time by certain people and presented to you under certain specific circumstances by a qualified ritual expert because of this and this and this and this and this. Okay? When you get that information, the only appropriate thing to do is to listen. Listen. Make yourself open to the possibility that you're doing something you really don't want to do. You're setting the stage for some. You know what I'm saying? You could be committing a mistake unknowingly, and you just really don't want to do that. So listen. You and then you can ask intelligent questions as time progresses to find out, hey, what is it that this really represents? How can I actually engage in this in a respectful way? Because that's what you want from other people. that you want other people from outside of your culture, outside of your ethnic identity, you want them to respect who you are. You want them to treat you with dignity as well. You want them to respect your values and your beliefs. Okay? And so it's a reciprocal process. It's not appropriate for you to use, things that come from the continent however you see fit, get correction, and then say, well, and if that's the case, then Africans can't use hip hop. Africans can't wear, Michael Jordan jerseys and snapbacks, and it's like that is the worst response. Okay, that's the worst response. I'm not going to say who or what you sound like. I'm going to let you think about where you as an African American have heard people say that to you when you're trying to, broaden their understanding of who we are and where we're coming from. Don't be defensive, folks. Don't push back. Don't take it as a total humiliation and negation of your Africanness. It is not like that. Even if the person has that intention, that's not the way you have to take it. Take it as a learner. Take it as someone who is capable of hearing truth, someone who's capable of absorbing new information and applying it in an even better way. Because once you know the rules, once you know the order, once you know the protocol, then you're free to move in that environment with total confidence. And anytime someone asks a question, you don't even have to go about the business of defending your position, because that's what people are doing, defend your position. You can just enlighten them. Yeah, you're right. I learned that in one region of Yoruba land, they use the Ile Ori this way. In another region, they use it another way. In another region, it's like this. And I understand how it's going, and I have made a reasonable fusion of them based on my collected, data. Then you're sharing with other people things that they may not know. But you see, the difference is that enhances. It's a collaborative effort, and everybody benefits from that. So, living the medicine that will heal your life and heal the lives of other people, the people who you're destined to serve, means that you're a lifelong learner. It means that you are expanding your cultural experience and understanding without offense, without encroachment, okay? And without compromise and without apology as well. Aboru, aboye, aboshishe.